Will Bosi has made the second ascent of Aidan Roberts' 9A boulder, Spots of Time. In climbing Spots of Time, Will becomes the first climber to climb 4 9A boulders. Will broke into 9A with an ascent of Sean Rabatu's Alphane in 2022, becoming the third person to climb the boulder. In 2023, he made the long-awaited second ascent of Nalle Hukataival's Burden of Dreams in Lapnor, Finland. And then earlier this year, he made the second ascent of Daniel Wood's Return of the Sleepwalker in Red Rocks, Nevada. Spots of Time is one of 2 boulders that Aidan Roberts established at 9A in the spring of this year. Having ticked off the majority of the hard projects that he had in the lakes, Aidan had gone further afield to Europe to find other hard projects to test himself. Whilst Aidan was in Switzerland, John Hartley tipped him off about a potential 9A boulder that was actually just a stone's throw away from Aidan's home in the Lake District. The boulder offered him a chance to spend more time at home after a prolonged period of travel, whilst also offering a boulder at the right level of difficulty and one that would motivate him through a winter of hard training. Aidan used dry days to project the boulder and wet days to train for it, alongside with training for his other 9A, Arrival of the Birds. He described this period as one where he found a harmonious balance between training and projecting that felt really special. Speaking about Spots of Time, Aidan said, "It feels like a new level of difficulty in what I have seen in UK bouldering, and of a quality and location which I feel can make a valuable contribution to the climbing here." Aidan spent roughly 30 days on Spots of Time, 10 days of which he used to refine his final sequence. He described the boulder as a nice bit of variation in my style, saying you can't just solely static crimp the whole time. He told us that the boulder is very fingers intensive, with edges that are slick and flat, where you need to rely on opposition and fast movement. It's almost a vague compression boulder, but the fingers are crimping pretty hard. It felt very contingent on coordination for me, not in the sense of jumping around, but it felt like I had to move fast and maintain tension in quite vague opposition with the legs. In the end, this one broke down into 2 sections for me. The third move felt like the hardest, almost low percentage. Latching that was a good try. And then the last move felt rather hard to execute well from the start. Whilst the exact beta that Will used for Spots of Time isn't 100% clear yet, the video of that will be on his YouTube channel soon, he did release some footage of explorations of different betas, including skipping the second move, where Aidan uses an intermediate. Whilst cutting out a single move might not seem like much, for a boulder of this difficulty, every single move is going to feel like it's at the limits, so any marginal gain could be a game changer for a boulder like this. All in all, Spots of Time took Will just 8 sessions. He told UKC, "Ever since Aidan completed this project, I've been psyched to give it a go." What an incredible line. I had a really fun process finding my method, as although there are only a couple of holds on the wall, it's a very technical boulder and each move takes time to work out the right beta for you. Everything about the boulder makes it amazing, from its quiet location up on Helvellyn to the fact that it's a pure face with only the one line and just the perfect amount of holds. Whilst 8 sessions is actually the fewest sessions that Will has spent on a 9A boulder, with Alphane taking 13, Burden of Dreams taking 24, and Return of the Sleepwalker taking 12, Will has said that Spots of Time ranks as a solid 9A boulder. Speaking on the grade of the boulder, he said, "I'm pretty confident the problem is 9A and is very similar to Burden of Dreams in quite a few ways. I think the sequence I used was a bit easier than what Aidan did. However, I think both sequences suit our styles perfectly, so I'm not sure if what I did is actually easier or not. I honestly think the boulder is one of the best hard lines in the world, and I hope it attracts more people to come and try it." Of the very few 9A boulders that Will hasn't already climbed, we think there are 3 obvious contenders for Will to take a look at next. The first is Megatron. We think that because he's got that sport climbing pedigree and it's a slightly longer boulder, he'd do really well on that. When we've chatted to Will previously, this has been the one that he seemed the most psyched for. Sadly, the season for Megatron didn't quite line up with Will's ascent of Return of the Sleepwalker, but we're pretty sure he'll be making a return trip at some point. Next up is Aidan's other 9A first ascent from 2024, Arrival of the Birds. There aren't many climbers out there who can match Aidan Roberts for crimp power, and this is a boulder that demanded Aidan to get even better at something that was already a bit of a superpower for him. But if there's one climber out there who might be able to do it, then we reckon it might be Will. The third 9A boulder that we think Will might have a look at is Sudan Sul, mainly because it's a bit closer than the others. Next up for Will is a trip to Japan. He said, "I can't wait to see what a country with such a rich heritage of hard climbing has to offer."